Giants fans, how do you feel about Mike Kafka? I mean, how do you really feel about Mike Kafka? Highs, lows, slow starts, halftime adjustments. We're going to get into all of that. I need you to put your comments down below. But let's get into this video.
Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video is a Let's Talk, and it's going to be the Mike Kafka episode. And I don't want to waste any more of your time. But please like, comment, and subscribe. The channel is growing, and it's all because of you. So Mike Kafka. You know, when Dable was hired, we wanted to know who the OC was going to be. There were rumors of Ken Dorsey leaving Buffalo and becoming offensive coordinator with Brian Dable. That fell through because the Buffalo Bills offered him the OC job once Dable left. And then you hear Mike Kafka. And the first time, you know, I heard it, and I was like, that name sounds familiar. Is that the quarterback guy that played for the Eagles a little bit? You know, what's he been doing? And, you know, oh yeah, that's right. He's been with Andy Reid. He's the quarterback coach. He's with Patrick Mahomes. And bang. I'm like, okay, I see where we're going here. So now we have Brian Dable, who's worked with Josh Allen. And then you have your offensive coordinator and Mike Kafka, who's worked with Patrick Mahomes. Now, he wasn't just a guy on the staff. He was their passing game coordinator. So you're like, okay, well, Patrick Mahomes is special. Josh Allen is also special. But what about these coaches that, you know, played a part in molding Josh Allen and molding Patrick Mahomes to, you know, the player that he is today, or the players that they are today? And I know that's giving Mike Kafka a lot of credit. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he built Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes himself said that when he first got in the league that he didn't know how to read defenses to a certain extent. And Mike Kafka assisted him, you know, and made him better in the process, you know, of being able to read defenses. So, and then also think about Mike Kafka is he comes from that Andy Reid tree. And in my opinion, Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in football history. One of the best up there. Put him up there with anybody. Andy Reid is that guy when it comes to offensive schemes. So you would hope that, you know, being under Andy Reid as a quarterback and also being under Andy Reid as part of the coaching staff has rubbed off on Mike Kafka. A lot of stuff that Andy Reid is doing, Mike Kafka was a part of that as far as being a student, you know, and Andy Reid being the teacher. So let's fast forward now to the Giants. So Mike Kafka is announced as the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. And my first reaction was, I'm excited about this. You know, you mix a little bit of Kansas City with Buffalo, and you have an explosive offense. And so far this year, we have not seen that, because at the end of the day, no matter where these coaches come from, it's about the players on the field. Let's be honest. It's about the players on the field, and it's also about the quarterback. And I'm not going to put Daniel Jones in the same atmosphere as Josh Allen and as Patrick Mahomes. But I look at his tools, I look at his stature, I look at his physical ability, and I'm like, okay, if anybody's going to help Daniel Jones, you know, reach his peak, it's going to be, you know, Mike Kafka and Brian Dable. And it's been up and down. It's been a roller coaster, especially when it comes to the offense. And I always say it in a lot of videos, heavy doses of Saquon Barkley, because he is your talent. He is the star of the team. And, you know, Daniel Jones is coming along. Now, and the offense goes how Saquon Barkley goes. But I'm going to say this, especially in this week coming up after the bye. Mike Kafka has had a chance to analyze his offense in this bye week. He knows who he has. And again, offensive linemen are down. You know, wide receivers possibly coming back. You know, Kadarius Toney gets traded, but Kenny Golladay should be back in his Texans game, barring any setbacks. You're like, okay, this is the game where you expect Mike Kafka to do some things. Me being one of those type of people, I expect not to see some crazy offensive explosion, nothing like that. But I expect to see a couple of things through the air this week. And the Texans on paper, make you feel like this is one of those teams where you could try some things out. Now, again, we do have our bread and butters, or we should have our bread and butters by now. But also, Mike Kafka is still trying to fill out this team. Again, this is only going to be the 4th game for Wan'Dale Robinson. You know, Darius Slayton has had a couple of good games. We picked up the wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins, who's going to be a player, you know, on this team as well. And you have to learn these new parts. You're trying to fit everything together. You're trying to put these pieces together, and hopefully you can get this puzzle at the end of the day where the Giants offense can run the ball, but also, if we have to, be able to pass the ball. So I think it's all going to be about schemes. What is Mike Kafka's answer to the QB spy? That's one of my main questions going into this game as well, because a lot of people say, you know, Dallas put out the blueprint, but right after that Dallas game, Daniel Jones was running bootlegs like crazy against Chicago. And then we say it with Seattle. Seattle did the QB spy. Probably the most successful QB spy outside of Dallas was Seattle. But again, they have great linebacker play as well. So not all teams have the personnel in order to run this type of defense where they're giving up a pass defender in order to commit that guy to the quarterback as a spy. But again, Mike Kafka has to find ways to scheme guys open, because it's not a talent thing in the wide receiver room. As far as one-on-one, you don't have guys that can beat people one-on-one a lot. Darius Slayton is considered your number 1 wide receiver, but in all actuality, he's probably a 2-3 wide receiver, 2 at his best, 4 at his worst. So just he's a 3 wide receiver going against a number 1 cornerback. You don't like those type of matchups. But now you bring Kenny Golladay back into the fold. Even though he is down this year and last year as well, he has to garner some type of attention on the defense, because if not, he's still a big target. He should still be able to move the chains. Maybe not those explosive plays downfield, you know, with the hip injuries and things like that, and now the knee injury, but you still have to make him a part of this offense. If he's going to be on the field, you have to make him a part of the offense. So the quick slants is something that I definitely think he still can run. You don't want to run any kind of seam routes, and I said that before as well, because those take too long to develop. And with these injuries at the offensive line, you know, do you want to take those type of chances? But again, you can't stray away from the passing game. We got to keep Saquon Barkley healthy. Good running back rotation is needed too to keep Saquon Barkley healthy, but you have to make this passing game work in some capacity. So that's what I'm looking for with Mike Kafka. Again, I like what he's doing. Please put your grades down there for Mike Kafka. I'm gonna give him, you know, I'll give him a B for what he's working with and how the offense is looking, maybe like a B minus. But in the second half, he has to step it up, in my opinion. The scheme has to be better. The quarterback play has to be better as well, because I'm not just going to throw it all on Mike Kafka, Daniel Jones as well. But the scheme, it's all about the scheme, because when you're lacking talent, you have to scheme players open. So is Mike Kafka going to be the guy that is able to scheme his guys open if they can't do it themselves, you know, one-on-one? But that's the biggest question for me. I do have faith in Mike Kafka. I like what I'm seeing. I like the second half adjustments. Would I like the team to start a little bit faster? Absolutely. Would I like the team to keep what's working with Saquon Barkley? Absolutely. But you cannot run this man into the ground. This season is a special season, in my opinion, and it's just because of the record. Now, a lot of people can argue back and forth about why we're 6-2, easy schedule, you know, having some luck in some games, but at the end of the day, the Giants are still 6-2. We're still moving. We're still one of the top teams in the NFC, one of the top teams in the league as well. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I know it's about building towards the future. I know everybody doesn't want to get too excited about this season, but I am excited about this season. I know that this is a rebuild, but I am excited about this season because we can try to catch lightning in a bottle. It's possible. It's very possible. And I think that in order to do that, this offense has to step up. The defense is playing, I can't say fantastic, but the defense is playing very well. Complementary football is something that has to happen on the offensive side, and we've seen glimpses of it. You know, the Green Bay game, we've seen glimpses of it where, you know, the defense makes a stop, the offense, you know, pushes down the field, and we score points. We need to see more of that. We have to be a mistake-free team because we don't have the type of talent to go out there and make mistakes and make up for it. We have to capitalize on every chance that we get. But again, this episode is about Mike Kafka. Please let me know your comments down below about how you feel about Mike Kafka, because I'm curious to see, you know, where a lot of the fan base is, especially guys that watch me. I want to know what you think about Mike Kafka. But again, just to close it out, Mike Kafka, I expect this offense to look a little bit better. I expect Daniel Jones to step it up a notch. I expect the wide receivers to get open. It's all about these schemes. You got a young offensive mind, and I see that he's listed on a lot of head coaches' lists, you know, as far as, you know, media out there saying this guy could be a head coach candidate. I don't really believe that, because this is his first year being an offensive coordinator. And even though he's doing a good job, it's not to the point where, you know, somebody's going to be like, I need Mike Kafka as my head coach. So I'm not worried about Mike Kafka leaving this year, but I expect him to be here, you know, for a few years, because he's still building himself a reputation within the league as an offensive coordinator. And I just think if he does something with this team this year, able to make Daniel Jones look, you know, better than what he was, you know, in prior years, absolutely Mike Kafka will have a chance, you know, going forward as a head coach candidate. But right now, today, he's the New York Giants offensive coordinator. We have the Texans on Sunday, and I'm excited to see if some work was put in, some changes, some things were tweaked, and to see what this offense looks like against the Texans. I expect a lot more yards through the air, especially in this game. I do expect, you know, Saquon Barkley to be Saquon Barkley, and hopefully the offensive line can hold up in this game, you know, with the replacements that we have out there. Joshua Zudo is one thing, but especially with Tyree Phillip, can he step up? Can he be adequate while we're missing Evan Neal? But that's going to be the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.